Well, welcome back to the Footy Panel, Bomber fans. He was the young star of the 2000 premiership team and ahead of the clash for cancer against North Melbourne on Saturday at Etihad Stadium. It's the perfect time to get him in. Adam Ramanauskas, welcome.
Yes, thanks for having me.
Clash for cancer, it's been a fantastic event. Just take us through the idea behind it and how it all started.
I think it was one of the boys, Dean Solomon, went to the rest of the playing group and said when I was going through a bit of treatment that let's wear a yellow armband. I think Scotty may have been playing the first game back then, and it's quite humbling that the boys would do that for me in support of me, and gave me a real lift at the time. And I think now it's gone from strength to strength. I think it's up to about the 12th or 13th version of the Clash for Cancer, and the club have raised a lot of money for the Cancer Council of Victoria over many years. I think it's well in excess of $1 million. So out of something very little, something very big's happened. So very proud, and hopefully continues into the future.
So when you're there on Saturday, does it stir up some emotions for you?
I think because I bring my family along, so I think it probably stirs up a few more emotions for them. For mine, it's just a reflection of what the club do for their players in their time of need, and how good they are to when a particular individual is doing it a little bit tough. So, that's most important for mine from a club point of view. But I think from my parents' point of view, it does stir up a few emotions in them, and you sort of realise how hard it was on your parents and my partner. So yeah, it was a tough time, but something that I think you reflect back on now, and you realise the support that you have from so many people around you.
And it was something we hadn't encountered as a playing group. I know you went through it, but for us to react, we weren't sure how to react. I mean, it wasn't like a hamstring or a bad knee injury, which I think Rama had as well. It was something far more serious. So it put things into perspective for us as a playing group at that point in time. So it's great that so many years after that, and Rama's going well with his health, that the club is still involved and Rama's involved in a great cause. What's in plan for the day?
I think there's a couple of little things that the club have got me doing. Tossing the coin, grabbing the ball. So I might take my kids out with me onto the ground, and they're starting to really follow the game a lot more closely now. So they were there a couple of weeks ago for the sort of baby Bombers game and the like with the James Hird Academy. So they're really enjoying their football. But I think it's just nice to go there as a supporter to the game. I don't do that probably near enough, and to be able to sit there and watch the game with my family and my kids, I think it's going to be a lot of fun. The team are playing really well at the moment, particularly Friday night. That was a really good performance. So yeah, it should be a great day. Let's
go back to the start of your footy career. What was it like walking into Windy Hill at the end of 1998?
Yeah. For mine, it was a little bit different because I came from a basketball background, so I never had spent a lot of time in football clubs as a kid. Dad probably protected me a little bit from that. He wanted me to play all sports. I played a little bit of football as a kid, so I wasn't aware of really how football clubs run, and that was probably a little bit of a downfall for mine. From a basketball point of view, you need a lot of confidence, and I came in probably with too much confidence when I first got to the football club, and I got chopped down to size pretty quickly. I had to realise, okay, it's not a basketball team where you need that confidence and probably a little bit of arrogance. Football club, you earn your stripes and you earn your respect, and once a couple of guys told me in different ways, I think I realised what it took to make it in the football club.
Now, did you have some words of advice for Lloydie early on?
No, this is a myth.
Good, I'm glad, because that's what we're here to do.
This is a myth. So
clear them up as well.
The story has it that I gave Lloydie some advice on his goal kicking when I first got to the club. Now, it wasn't me, and I can categorically deny it wasn't me. It was Chris Laddams.
I was going to say, it was the year of the cocky kids coming in, McVeigh and Laddams.
Yeah, it was Chrissy Laddams that gave Lloydie the advice, and so that wasn't me. I didn't go that far.
Yeah.
What did Sheeds think, though? I mean, Sheeds likes confidence in his players. Was his reaction a bit different to what some of the teammates would have been?
He didn't really say much, Sheeds. I think he knew with the older group at the club at the time that they'll sort those type of players out. I think that was probably our strength through that period of time, is that it didn't necessarily take the coaches to to sort out a cocky player or somebody who was doing something wrong. It was more the playing group that sorted the problems out. And it was, I was in the locker room during the week that an older guy would just grab you and say, what are you doing? If you don't pull your socks up, you're not going to be here very long.
What about, so you had a taste in 99, a couple of games.
Yep.
So going into the 2000 season, what was your expectations for that year?
It was an interesting one. 99, obviously first year of playing, and we played in the reserves premiership, which was fantastic. And obviously the senior side lost the prelim final. And when I first got to the club, Robert Shaw made us first year players go into the Hall of Fame and find out about the football club and the history of the club and what it was all about. And I walked away from that experience going, well, the football club's about winning finals and winning premierships. And that's the way I looked at it. I knew with the team then losing the prelim final in 99 that Sheeds would make some changes. And I think at that year Scotty had broken his ankle and he would have played in that 99 side, no worries whatsoever. But he was another one that came back into the side in 2000. Jason Johnson was another one. Hurdy, obviously, with his foot. Myself and Johnny Barnes were the final two. So I knew of the pre-season of 2000. If I did work hard, play well in the early games, that Sheeds would give an opportunity, because he was always very good at giving younger guys an opportunity. The first probably quarter of that season, I would come off the bench most games, and then probably from about a third of the way through the season, I started to start on the ground every week, and felt a real part of it. So it was probably more about me realising the opportunity that was in front of me and grabbing it with both hands, because you didn't have to be Einstein to work out that something pretty special was going to happen that year. So early doors, I just had to hang in there and play. When I got my opportunity, play good football, and then in the back part of the season, you really felt like I was a part of the team.
What was it like being a 19-year-old in that side?
Yeah, well, look, it's easy to say you're lucky, and we're all lucky to play in a premiership. We really all are, but you do, as a 19-year-old, I still do. I still pinch myself that I had the opportunity to play with a bunch of guys. We had a premiership dinner on Saturday night, which was great to see the faces. And I think now as the years pass and you reflect on the players that you play with, some of those guys are going to go down as the best in Essendon's history ever. Obviously, one of the guys sitting next to me here, and it's good to reflect on those things, to think, geez, we were a good side, and we were very, very difficult to beat. We were very, very difficult to play against. But most importantly, we had a strong bond, and I think that will stay forever. We don't necessarily see each other on a weekly basis, but when we do see each other, we really make the most of that opportunity.
And obviously, your career was cut short because of the illness. Yep. I mean, do you feel a bit cheated from a football point of view?
I reckon I would have felt cheated if I didn't win the premiership. I really do. And that's where you can probably look back and go, well, you play football to win premierships. And we were fortunate enough to win one. So at times I do reflect back and go, I wish I would have played more football. I think I missed, through illness and injury, about 80-odd games. So I would have had potentially 200 plus if all went well. But I look at it and I had 10 years at a football club, whereas most guys don't even ever get that opportunity. So to have 10 years at a football club, to be able to achieve the ultimate success, play with a great bunch of guys, but it's also what it's been able to do is, I think, catapult me into the next phase of my life with what I wanted to do. And that's what I think a lot of people don't think about, is that if you play at a good club, it really does help you in the future in what you want to do. And it's not that people sort of respect you more and all that. I think it's the experiences that you have. It probably gives you a little bit of a head start moving into the next phase of your career.
What are you doing now, Adam?
I do what you do, Scott.
Rivals you too.
Yeah, I do.
We are.
Player manager for TLA worldwide, and then I do a little bit on the radio as well, so which is a bit of fun. Look, my old man always said to me, you got to work out what you're good in life, and I've always been passionate about sport, and now to be able to mix sport and business together with what I do, I think is perfect. So I couldn't see myself, being a tradie and all that type of stuff. I do love doing that stuff on the odd occasion, but sport is what I've always loved.
Scotty, I won't ask you this question, Rama, but Scotty, how good could have Adam been?
Yeah.
I mean, premiership, third in the best and fairest in a good team.
I was going to ask him, and it was a great question by you. But you were hitting it when you first became ill. You were actually in career best form, weren't you? Which is, I guess, the unfortunate aspect of it. But having your health, of course, is everything.
Oh, and that's the part you sort of, and we were talking just earlier about that, is I didn't really get a prime of my career.
Yeah.
I sort of got
Just about you were about to hit it though, weren't you?
I got the first part of my career, and I did. Look, I played some good football at times, but when I did get sick, I started to become a full-time midfielder. I started, on a wing or a half-back flank, and the year in 2003, she started to play me on the ball a lot more, and the first part of my season was pretty strong until I got sick. But that's the stuff that probably you do sometimes go, what if? But at the same time, like I said, to be fortunate enough to play in a premiership, and I also got to play an international rules series as well, which is pretty exciting and special with a few of the Essendon boys as well. So yeah, it is a little bit sort of not difficult, but you do sort of wonder how good I could have been, and wonder what I could have achieved sometimes from an individual point of view.
Now, Rami, you work for ABC and you do some stuff for RSN, and I heard you on Friday, you were confident the Bombers would beat the Saints.
Yeah.
What do you think for the rest of the year?
Look, I think you look at Friday night's game against St Kilda, and it was probably their run, and then the 50-50 contest. You felt like they were going to win, and I've watched Essendon as closely as I can this season, and they've got off to good starts, but then they've taken the foot off the gas, off the pedal a little bit. On Friday night, they kept the foot to the floor, and you could see the results. So I think it's the consistency which will determine if they play finals this year. If they can play a lot more consistent throughout games, they're going to win more than they lose on the run home. They're going to have probably 13 wins, I would have thought, Scotty.
Yeah, 5 out of 6 to definitely get you there, I think. Yeah.
So it's
not margin for error is not theirs.
It's very small.
Dogs in Adelaide amongst that.
Yeah. But a good run. I think the majority of those games are at Etihad. So which is good, and the most important part is keeping good players out in the park week in, week out. People were scratching their head when Jobe was rested on the weekend, but I think it's going to be a blessing in disguise for Jobe in the back end of the season.
Well, Rama, great to see you. Good luck on Saturday with the Clash for Cancer. It's a great day, and good luck with everything you're doing in the workplace.
Thanks for having me.
Scotty, good to see you again. And Bomber fans, make sure you get there on Saturday. Clash for Cancer. Wear a splash of yellow. Let's get another huge crowd at Etihad Stadium for another big game against North Melbourne. We'll see you next week on the Footy Panel.